there! Happy Friday! Thanks for joining me here tonight. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for the beginning crafter. And I am here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. That's 9:30 Eastern and 6:30 Pacific. And it's a time that we can relax and craft here together. And I craft here for about an hour in the evening, and I work on projects from beginning to end. So you can be part of the whole process along the way, ask your questions, and just come hang out. If you guys were here last night and got that email from yesterday, you'll know that we are having a koala fundraiser to help some of the animals that are just in the Australian wildfires that they need medical help, they need water, they need shelter. We're trying to help with that. So thanks you guys for everyone who has donated. I do have a link here, and if you just go to penguinandfish.com, there'll be an image right there to get to the Koala fundraiser page. But we doubled from what we had last night, so we had a little over $500 raised last night, and now it's over $1,000. So that's just in 2 days, you guys, which is crazy. So exciting. So we will be doing a stitch along. Well, how it's working is that you buy an embroidery pattern, the Koala embroidery pattern. The PDF version goes directly to the fundraiser. And then I also have a bundle of materials put together and also a paper pattern. And a portion of those goes to the fundraiser as well. And then if you want to donate more, I also have a donate more button there. So thanks everyone who has donated, and you donate by just buying that pattern. That's amazing, amazing. If you didn't get the pattern, we will be having a stitch along for it on the 25th. That should be enough time if you got the bundle, the materials bundle, for you to get that. I'll be starting to send those out early next week, so you should get them real soon here. And so on the 25th, we'll start stitching it. The stitch along is on a Saturday, which is a little different than what we've done here. It's at Saturday at 4 p.m. Central Time. I'll send an email about this as well, too. But it ends up being on the 26th if you're in Australia, which is also Australia Day for the stitch along, which I think is just extra fun. So from these koalas that we stitch up, if you want, and you don't have to, but if you do stitch one up and want to donate it, we are going to be sewing them into a quilt, and then having the quilt up for auction, so that money can also go for the fundraising effort here. So I will have more information on that coming up in an email as well. So keep your eyes out on that. Once I have more info on how that's all going to work, like dates, when I'll need the embroideries by, I will let you know. So thank you again so much. If you did get a pattern, a PDF pattern, or the materials bundle that has the PDF pattern in it, and you haven't received it, just make sure to check your spam folder. Sometimes they head down that way. But again, thank you so much. I will also be sending an email out soon that will have links if you want to start sharing about it. I haven't posted on Facebook or anything yet, or Instagram, so I'll make some pretty picture links so you can start sharing about the fundraiser and the stitch along as well, so we can raise as much as we can. You guys are awesome. All right, you guys, we are going to continue on the Granny Squares quilt tonight. It is by Lissa Alexander, and it was done for the magazine American Patchwork and Quilting, I think back in 2012. We've had it here for a couple of years, and we are finally moving on with it. I know, my poor plant, I actually have to water it. It's looking a little saggy there. But yes, it looks like a bunch of little moving hearts, doesn't it? I love it. Plant. If you guys have been here back in the Periscope days when we first started these lives, there was only 3 little leaves on it, and now it's got like 30, so it's a progression there. Awesome. So you guys, we finished all the teal fabrics. This is our background fabric. So wherever there's brown in here, the brown background, we are using teal. So today we get to start cutting up all of the fabric that is going to be all these fun little bits. And if you remember, I wanted to do the center square of all of these a separate color. And that had me a little bit confused this evening, but I figured it out. So if you did want to do the middle bit, that middle square, different color, we'll talk about that a little bit today too. But we are just going to be cutting all of the pretties tonight, most likely in the long strips. And then and then when we come back, we'll cross cut them into the smaller bits. So awesome! I'm going to flip you around and we'll get started. Okay, and before we even start on that, I had a YouTube watcher. So all of these videos go up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies when I'm done in the evening, so you can watch replays there. But I had a replay watcher say that I cut the last couple bits to 2 inches instead of the 1 3/4, and sure enough, some of these, and I'm going to have to dig which ones they are, they were from that extra little scrap. So I think there should be 4, because didn't we cut 4 out of them? But sure enough, they are 2 inches. So here's 2 of them. These ones all look right, so maybe it's in the other stack here. Oh gosh, maybe they're hiding deep down somewhere, but I'm pretty sure there was 4, because we did a 144, and then we added 4 more for the 148. These all look okay. So, just trying to rectify that before I get too lost. Okay, well those all look the right size too. Maybe it was just the last 2. Maybe I cross-cut 1 and then, oh, that must be what happened. So it must just be these 2, because these are all the same. Okay, so let's just layer these up real quick, and we will trim it to the 1 3/4 instead of the 2 inches. I'm glad. I can't remember who caught it, but I'm glad. I'm glad they did, because this would have been super confusing to me later. Like, why isn't this working? All the other ones worked. So that was a great catch. There we go. Just need to trim that up. Oh, good. Libby says she got her pattern. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to stitch it up with you guys. I think that'll be neat. All right, crisis averted. Let's get it back in the little baggies here. I know, right, Noli? We all missed it, or I at least missed if anyone mentioned it. All right, so next up. So the next thing, I'm going to grab all these quick just so you can see. We picked out all of these fun fabrics when we were picking colors to be the assorted colors of the quilt. So this is what all of these squares are going to be made up of, a mishmash of all of this. So it's a lot of blues and greens. It's a mixture of lights and mediums and dark tone colors. Like this obviously is very dark. This is probably more medium, and then a light. So that would be a version of dark, medium, light. I just want a variety of those within the quilt. That'll help give us like some pretty contrast. Like the background's really dark and these are kind of light, or like this one has light, dark, light, kind of medium colors in there. So that'll just help us give some texture to it, having that contrast. But we threw in one extra color, that's different than, these are all kind of bluesy and greens. And then, I wanted a lot of this white in as well, white and this gray. I want to have a lot more of this in. But we added that one extra color, and I wanted that to be like a little square in the middle of all these. I thought that would be cool to have all these blues and then like that bright pop. So I'm digging into the cutting instructions. So if you guys want to do that too, I'm going to talk about that So what we really need to do is we need to cut 140 1.5-inch strips out of all of this. So an assortment of strips, 140 of them. So that's a lot, right? So we will just, I mean, we might have to press some of this a little bit, but we are just going to be cutting strips out of all the pretty fabric tonight. But because there's that specific thing of I just want this in the middle of those squares, I have to look ahead a little bit and see how that's done. And so, okay, so from all these strips, we're going to be cutting them down into a bunch of different sizes, but we're going to start from those strips. But for here, the part that we need to know is this 1.5-inch square. So this middle part is going to be, and I figured that out by looking at the diagrams and stuff, so it's going to be that 1.5-inch square. But what got me so confused is that we need 60 of them. However, this is 6 squares by 6 squares, so we only have 36 squares, so really we only need 36 pink centers, right? So that got me all confused, because why are there 60 if we only need 36? So I had to dig a little bit, because I don't want that pink anywhere else. I just want the pink just in those middle centers. So I had to search, well, where are these other 1.5-inch squares going to? And I found it in step 2 of the border. So if we look ahead, there's extra right here. These little dots there, or little squares there, those are all 1.5-inch squares. So that goes to make so our corners or something like that. So it goes to make a few of these. So we still do want a variety, but I don't want that variety out of my pink. So what I'm going to do, where I'd like to start is cutting this strip and then cross-cutting to get our 36 out of here. And then I'm going to subtract that from the 60, just so we have that out of the way and we don't have to be thinking about it anymore, if that makes sense. So what we have to figure out is how many strips of this do I need to cut to get the 36 that we need. And really, I only think one. So they're 1.5-inch squares, so we need 36. So 36 inches plus 18 inches would be the 1/2 inches added up. So we do still need 2 strips, don't we? Because that's going to be over the length of this. So all right, fine. We'll get 2 of these out. And, well, you know what? That's good, because I'll have an extra bit of the strip left. So if I do decide that I do want some of this in the border, we'll have a strip that we can cross-cut a few more out if we want. If we want to pepper it around in the border, which actually that might be kind of pretty. Gosh, yeah, we'll do that. So I'm going to just cut 36 and leave the rest behind, the strip behind on standby for later. So let's start there. I'm going to shush all of this out of the way. Let's see what we even have here. I'm assuming this is a yard, or the width of the fabric, but I can't be sure. All right, yeah, it is. Oh, yeah. So all of these strips are going to be such odd sizes to me. But a lot of them do look like they are coming with that original fold where it goes on the bolt, so I'm probably not going to iron them. If I have a really crinkled piece, maybe I'll iron it. But I think we're going to try and not do that as much as I can. Just as a time saver. And they'll get ironed eventually, and I don't think we'll be that far off by not ironing. I am going to trim the edge, though, just to get a good straight edge to start with. So I said 2 strips we need. Okay. These are different than our last strips, I believe. Yeah, they're a little different size. So these are 1.5-inch strips. Oops, I I moved the fold at the bottom. Oh, you're using different grays for your lights, Joe. I love that idea. I actually would like, I have a couple fabrics that have a lot of gray in. I kind of want to err on that side too. I'd like to get as many gray lights in there as possible, and then a few of the white lights. I have a lot of colors that I put in, but I want a lot of lights, because remember when we started this, I had that inspiration image from Pinterest, and that had a lot of white, a lot of light colors around it. So I want to mimic that. All right, I am going to rotate. Nah, I only have to make 2 cuts. I'm going to stay here. I was going to rotate this around so I could use just 1 ruler, but this seems easier. Okay. Double check. Nope, 1.5 we need. Just thinking it was 2.5. Woo, these are little, holy cow. Tiny little strips. Goodness. Wow, all right. Wow, we are going to be sewing up the skinniest little strips. Ooh, you chose burgundy for your background fabric? Oh gosh, that'll be striking. You know, I didn't think about fussy cutting these or anything, so hopefully they turn out all right. I just really am wanting the color, not so much, I mean, the animals are fun, but my priority was the color. But it looks like we are going to get a bunch of their little faces in here. Oh, good. Good. Maybe when we cross-cut, since we have extra fabric, we'll have to fussy cut a few of those out. Fussy cutting just means that you get picky or fussy with what's in the shape that you're cutting. So like if we frame, like if we wanted to cut this out and put it on something and we're cutting a hole right in the middle of this fabric, that's us fussy cutting out that bird. So we might fussy cut, like be finicky on making sure like some of these heads of these animals are within the square. That would be kind of fun. We'll see how we do on that. We have a couple, that'd be kind of neat. I'm paranoid about measuring. You're hearing just the 1.5 inch. Just double checking again. Yeah, it is 1.5 inches. Okay, so that's it for this fabric. So I'm not going to use this pink fabric anymore. Gosh, you know, again with the scraps, you think you're going to use up a ton, but look, I still have a fully functional piece of fabric here as if I didn't do anything with it. It's crazy. All right, let's cross cut. Like I said, I want to take care of these 36 just so they're out of my way, and then the rest will all be the same. We'll just be doing the length of the fabric. We'll just be making a ton of strips just like this. All right, so that doesn't have animals on the back. How are these doing? Oh, these are on both sides. So if we get them on one side, fine. If not on the other, whatever. I think that's how we're going to approach this. So I don't know if I'm going to really fussy cut. So I need, well, as many as I can get out of here, I suppose. So I'm going to trim off the fold, and then I will rotate this whole mat around. Well, actually, why am I not? Let's double it up. Oh, but let's think about how many I need. I only need 36, so I'm going to cut them separately. All right, let's trim that. I think it'll be easier for me to count. In theory, I can cut them all at once and then, you know, pull up the strip when I don't need it anymore, but I don't know how many I'm going to get out of here. I didn't do all that math. So my lack of doing math is making me having to do a little bit more work here, but not much, I don't think. All right, I'm going to rotate this whole thing, hopefully without shimmying it too much. And actually, what I could have done is fold it But I am going to try and fussy cut this a little bit. Oh, man. Decision making tonight is not working for me. I was thinking I could fold this over and then cut more at once, but we're gonna just, it's all laid out now. I'm not gonna redo it. We're in it now. Just because I'm curious. I want to just peek at what's on the other side of these. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about fussy cutting them. Sometimes they'll be in and sometimes they won't. So every once in a while, they will, there'll be a little animal picture, and then sometimes they won't be. It's getting awfully crooked right away, too. Oh, thanks, Pat. Yes, so if you guys did not see, we already have over $1,000 raised for the koalas already, and it's just been 2 days, really, like a day and a half. Just crazy. So you guys are pretty amazing. And a lot of you are doing extra donations, which is just so cool. I wasn't expecting that, and that's awesome. I mean, I guess I didn't know what to expect, but I'm pretty excited, and I'm really excited about our stitch along for it. I think that'll be really fun. It'll be a fun Saturday stitch along. This is gonna be half of a frog, and it'll be neat to make up the quilt too. And like I said, my mom has volunteered me and her to do the quilt, so I didn't know if you know I would do that, but I do think that would be kind of fun. We can take some photos, and maybe John will even film some of it of us putting together this quilt. That'd be pretty neat. But yeah, so I'll have dates and what that actually means all put together at some point here. So like, if you wanted to make a design or a koala to put in the quilt, you know, what sizes we would need and you know, all the little details, what day, you know, it should be shipped to me by, and address and all that. We'll get all that together, so don't worry about all that yet. And if you did, oops, that's too big. If you did want to start already, just know that I don't want to have a lot of rules. If you want to, what's in the bundle, what's in the materials bundle is white fabric with all the colors of the floss. So, and it does not have the letter K on the pattern, the K for the koala, like it does in the pattern, but the little that's the stick and stitch sticker for the pattern in the materials bundle does not have the K on. So I'm guessing we will get a lot of white background koalas with no K, which is great. We can cut those up all squares. However, if you want to stitch it a completely different color and have it on a completely different fabric, and you want to stitch the letter K on, I think that would be fabulous. Like if we have a few different ones within this bunch, even if they're different sizes, I mean, don't cut it down, but you know, like if it has the K, it'll be a little taller. We will figure it all out together, and I think it will just be awesome. And I love the idea that it'll be a variety. So if you want to do it a certain way, you have permission, is all I'm going to say. And we're going to make it work no matter what. So go ahead with that. I do like the idea that we can everyone can sign it, or maybe put a note on, or where they're from. I'll have more info on that coming up too. The quilt-along, Jane, is the 25th. It is a Saturday, and it is going to be at 4 p.m. Central, which is 5 p.m. Eastern and 2 p.m. Pacific. And I'll do a email. I'll tell you for sure before we get there. All right, 2, 4. I gotta count. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We'll definitely need to 16. Press these before we sew them. 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. Okay, so we got 28. So we need 8 more to get 36. That's the number of squares in the quilt. So 8 more. So I need to just cut 4 more out of here to get us to that 8, because this is doubled up. Ooh, look at how big this selvage is on that side. We'll cut like this. And I might just rotate this around and cut the 4. I am cutting it from the selvage side though now, because then I can cut my couple off and I'll still have this long piece that, you know, maybe we'll use in here and maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I'm just over the moon excited, first of all, that we raised so much already, and I can't wait to see all the koalas come in the mail so we can stitch it together. Ugh, I just messed up this edge, but we're only cutting 4, so we're gonna just be fine. Oh, Jackie, so it's just from yesterday, so you're not missing anything yet. We are going to have a quilt-along and make a quilt to help raise money that will donate. I'm donating to Australians for Animals. It is it's an organization that's been around for over 30 years. They helped get koalas on the U.S. endangered species list as threatened, and they are adopting small shelters and like less, media savvy, tech savvy shelters that are being overlooked basically by all these millions of dollars that is kind of pouring into some of these other larger shelters and stuff, larger hospitals right now. So they are on purpose looking for these shelters that are super duper in need of, medicine and shelter cages and, whatever, all the stuff that they need right now. But the shelters, water, medicine. So they are looking for specifically those shelters that aren't getting the influx of money. So I feel good about that. All right. Oh, wait a sec. 2, 4. I needed 8, didn't I? Yeah, I needed 8. I need 2 more out of here. Getting ahead of myself. But yeah, so we are doing a fundraiser for that and a stitch-along. So the fundraiser is basically buying the pattern for the stitch-along. So the PDF pattern, all of the proceeds from the PDF pattern of the koala are going to be donated, and then most of the paper pattern and the materials bundle as well. And then you can also, I have an area to donate more if you want as well. So that is round 1 basically of the fundraiser, and round 2 is we're gonna stitch up a quilt of a bunch of koalas. So if you want to do one of the koalas for this quilt, you can make one when we do the stitch along, and then send it on my way, and I will give more information on that soon, and we'll do that. Still need a ballpark of the size it should be, of the size that the embroidery should be. well, I suppose you could enlarge it or shrink it to whatever size you want, but just like the actual size that it prints out, really. I think it's about 4.5 inches tall and wide. I think it says in the pattern there. But yeah, I can figure all that out over the weekend a little bit more. But yeah, if some are bigger or some are smaller, I think all that variety is gonna be like give a quilt so much texture. So if you are worried about size, don't worry because all sizes will be amazing in it. So, all right, these are our little 36 center squares. I'm gonna make a little case for that. A little get a sandwich bag out. And then I'm going to subtract them from that 60. Okay. I gotta look. Okay, well, 1.5 inch squares. 36. And then I'm going to just write out of 60 total. I'm just going to confuse myself here, but I just want to... Oh, you know what? I'm going to write center square in here too. Even though that's obvious, it's that color. All right. I think we're covered with description there. All right, now for the rest of the evening, I'm just going to be cutting strips. And really, I only need to cut 39 strips now because this was made out of like 1 and a little bit of strips. So 36 are done of this. I'm just gonna write 36 done, 36 cut already. I gotta write those notes already. So what does that mean? We need 24 more, right? That's math. 24, yep. Need 24 more. All right, so this is going to be a good note because what I wrote down here is we did 36 cut already. That's what this is, and we need 24 more, so that equals the 60. And it's good that I'm writing this note because this is the last day that we are going to work on this project until next month, the second full week of the month. So we are switching off. Every week we're picking a new project and then sticking to it on that schedule for every month. So this is week 2. Or no, this is the first full week we work on the granny square quilt. So we won't be working on it again until the first full week of February. Which is sad, I want to keep going, but that's how we're setting it up this year. We'll see how it works. But I won't be cutting this until then, so I need to remember. So today we are still cutting this, and we actually only need 139 right now. That number will change. We'll have to count how many we get done this evening. Okay, but this is done at least. So we'll mark this evening how many we have left. We'll put what we have in a bag and then mark what we still need. Okay, so one thing I was saying as we started working on this is that I wanted a lot of the color of the year. This is the Pantone color of the year, is very similar to this blue. So I wanted to have this quilt be a lot about that color of the year. So I will probably cut as many strips as I can. Well, that's going to be kind of a lot. 2, 4, 6, 8. That's probably about 8 strips. Well, we need to cut a lot, though. So I'm probably going to cut as much as I can out of this fabric. So we will use this fabric up. And the other thing is I said I wanted a lot of this gray in it as well and some of the white. So I might actually, this is like a half yard of fabric. I might cut up all this as well. And we'll have that as our starting area. And then from there, we can pick out of our stack of stuff here and kind of pick and choose until we get to that 139 that we need. So I think that's our plan. And I'll cut some lights, I'll cut some darks, so I make sure that we still have a variety. But I do want to get some of these certain fabrics, so like this blue and that gray, and I do want to get some white in there too. It would be very pretty just with all these bright colors, but when we were looking at the trend images, I really, really did like some of the photos that had a lot of white background in, a lot of white. So I am gonna do some white. This one's a little much for me. I am gonna press this. I'm not gonna press this fold. I'm not gonna unfold it either. I'm gonna leave that bolt fold because that'll just the fold that how it comes on the bolt. It's folded in half because that'll line up at the bottom. But the rest of this is a little much. So I'm gonna just press it out a little bit. These are smaller pieces than the ones from the bolt, so it's nice. Oh, Gretchen, you have that gray fabric from the sale I had a long time ago. Yes, so the other parameter that I had for this quilt is I was just going to use penguin and fish fabric. So I have designed fabric in the past, and I think that'd be fun to start doing again. We'll have to see about that. But that was one of my fabrics, and a while back, like a year or a year and a half ago, I was selling anything that could be turned into, or I was selling off all the yardage. So everything I have here is either stuff that was unsellable, like it was like scrap, or it was the test fabric that they sent me, or it was less than the yard. So yeah, this is kind of it for the fabric, and I wanted to start using it again. Get through those penguin and fish scraps. So that's awesome that you got some of that gray, because this one was popular, and it's not around hardly anywhere. You can do a search for some of these fabrics, but they're getting slim. But yeah, if you do a search for like penguin and fish fabric, and the manufacturer was Clothworks, a lot of my fabric will pop up in a search then. I think there's people on Etsy selling it. I'm gonna get this nice clean edge here. Oh, you made Sarah Lawson from So Sweetness a pouch. Oh, you made a So Sweetness pouch with it. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's super cool. I bet she's fun as a pouch. Yeah, she has amazing bag patterns. I think we've done one of them here. Did we do one of hers here? I think we did. My bag, my embroidery bag. This is where I stash all my embroidery threads. See, I got all the excess thread in there and some needles. This was a pattern, one of Sarah from So Sweetness. This is one of her patterns. I made it out of some of the leftover jean fabric from the jean quilt. All right, I'm going to rotate this. I didn't do this with the bolt, but with these smaller pieces, I am going to rotate this, and now I can just use that one ruler, which is going to make it so much easier than doing the double ruler method. But the double ruler method is great when you don't want to move the fabric at all. Like, you want that edge. You don't want anything to move that perfect edge that you just cut. All right, I better check measurements again. I'm getting paranoid. Yep, we're still at the 1.5 inches. So I'm going to cut as many strips as I can out of here. I think I better stack them in stacks of 5 again, like how we were counting the other day. I think that will work. And I'm going to let them be a mixture. I don't think I need to have these separated at all. I'm going to leave them a nice, big, assorted mix. Because I do want the granny square blocks to look a little patchworky, as if they just came together however. Like, I want them to look a little unplanned. So we're gonna cut smaller pieces out of all these, and I kind of want to do that a little randomly. So I want to just like pick out of our big stack and do our cuts from there. I got my non-random stuff done, and those are the pink centers. After that, I do want it to feel more patchworky. So that's I'm not gonna worry at all about keeping these fabrics together at this point. But it's just gonna be a mix. You may or may not want to do that. If you want all of your granny squares to look exactly the same, then you might want to do it. I don't even think I'm going to do dark, medium, and light piles. I think I'm going to just grab, so I have a variety of dark, medium, and lights. And I'm going to just have them by size, and then when I sew them together, I'm going to just kind of pick one. Like if I have a dark color and I have to sew something next to it, then I'll just kind of browse at what I have left in my little baggie of strips that size, and then I'll pick like maybe a lighter one or a darker one. I think at that point I'm going to make those decisions. And if two dark colors go next to each other or two light colors go next to each other, I think that's going to add to the charm of a patchwork look. It'll make it like not perfect. And I think that will be nice in this case. So I'm going to keep cutting, but I do want to I want to stack in groups of 5 just because that's, I don't know, helped me count the other day. Where to put them though? I'll just lay them up on the top of my table for now. All right, let's see what else we can get out of here. Oh, that's awesome! You have friends that are doing the punch needle. I would love to try that again. And actually, I think a lot of YouTube people like watching the punch needle that we did earlier, so that would be kind of fun if we did another punch needle one of these days. So it's those sort of projects that I want to do when we don't have a full week to work on something, or if we finish something and we have like a day left over on a task or something, we will throw in some other projects like that. All right, that's 2. I think one more is all we can get. We'll have just like a weird little scrap left. Okay, there we go. We'll save that scrap. I do want it out of my way though. Okay. So that's 3. Okay, let's remember that this is 3. That too. So Terry, I do want to do that notebook cover yet as well. That one, the reason that one stalled is because I'm updating the pattern for it so that you can make the sketchbook cover. It's a sketchbook cover that has a zipper in the back to put like pencils and stuff in. But I'm rewriting it so you can make it any size for any book size. So finishing that up has got me stalled on that, but it is something I do want to finish up one of these days. You know what? I'm going to give this a little iron too. These guys have been folded for ages and ages, all of these fabrics. That's why it's time to air them out and use them up again. And they're all probably smaller cuts like this. I mean, this looks like it's probably shy of it's probably just shy of a yard. That's probably why I couldn't sell it. So I kept it. And I really shouldn't be putting this on my mat, but we're not ironing for very long. So I don't think the heat will go all the way through. Just want to get some of these bigger fold a little flatten so it lays flatter as we cut. I like this fabric. And I think it looks so pretty with the teal. Like, I think it's just pretty with it. Like, here's the teal. Like, I think these three as a quilt would just be so cool. But we're doing a mixture of fabrics, but in the future, just a very limited, like, 3-color quilt. I haven't really done something like that. That would be a good challenge for me in one of our future projects, to just have, like, a 3-color quilt or something. All right, I'm gonna trim this edge so it's nice again, and then I'm gonna rotate it around like I did the other one, and we'll trim. Again, this one I think I'm gonna cut as many pieces as I can out of it, because I do want a lot of this fabric in. And then from there, I think we'll just kind of grab and go and see what happens. I mean, we still do need 139. I mean, that's a lot. So, gosh, we might even use up a lot of this. Oops, get the glove on. Oh, Barbara, yeah, I should just not do that. I won't do it again. It's a bad habit, and I shouldn't do it. I'm putting my wool mat on here on my cutting board to iron, because that heat can warp the cutting board and ruin the cutting board. And I just shouldn't do that. Okay, I'm gonna carefully remove that. This is just the right size to rotate. Trying to be careful not to move it. Okay, now I can go this way again and do our 1.5 inch strip. So I'm gonna do 2 first, because we have the 3 from the other one cut, and I'm making stacks of 5, remember. Just so I can count. Because how else are we going to count 140? I don't want to count them all when we're done. I want to just trust that we counted correctly along the way. And if worse comes to worse, we either have 1 extra strip or I have to cut another one if we miscount. But I don't want to count 140 after we're done cutting. When we're done cutting, I want to be done cutting. You know, it might be good to keep the lights and darks separate for now, just so I can see, like, the proportion of how much we're collecting, but maybe I don't care that much. Maybe we're just, as long as I know that I'm cutting a bunch of white and lights as we go, I think we'll be okay. I'm not going to worry too much. Let's not make it a whole thing. I think I could get real picky if I wanted to, but I don't know. I don't know what good that's going to do me, especially if I want it to feel patchworky and stuff. I think it'll be fine. A little hint of these light colors, and that'll be good. I don't want to overthink it. That's what I'm getting at. Because I can easily do that, and as it gets later and later in the evening, the more and more I overthink things. So at least I know that about me, and I know that I try and catch myself. Like, oh, I'm just overthinking. Stop it and just decide. It'll be okay. This will be cute. I like this gray, and it has all the white in too that I wanted with the dots. So this will be nice, I think. Okay, so again, I'm going to cut 5. We'll make a stack of 5. And actually, it is getting to 9:30 already, isn't it? Sheesh, we've been here an hour already. So we'll for sure finish up cutting this fabric, and then we'll see what we got left for time. And then next week, we will be working on the Splendid Sampler 2 again. I want to keep momentum on that project yet. Because if we don't, then it will be in the never ever finish pile. Because there's a lot to do on it yet and a lot of different stuff. And I'm afraid if I let that one go, it won't ever get done. Oh, dang, Barbara, that's awesome. So Barbara got her mandala love kit today. So all of those bundles have been shipped, except for the pre-order. So I'm still waiting on the supplies to make. We sold out of those in 2 days, or like 2 days in a morning, which I was not expecting. So I ordered more supplies, and they should be here. I'm hoping midweek next week, and then I will make them and then ship right away. It might not be till the end. I might not get the supplies till the end of next week, but I am going to get them out as fast as I can. And I don't know. Hopefully they might be to you if you're pre-ordering them now before we start stitching. Because I know that a lot of you did pre-order it now. I relisted it as a pre-order after they sold out. And if you ordered the Koala materials bundle and you got the mandala bundle as well, I'll ship them separately. So you can get the Koala stuff, and then I'll ship the mandala love one once I have all the supplies. Then you'll get your stuff still. And if that's the case, I will also email you and let you know that that's happening, so you don't wonder why you didn't get the full order. Oh, I can't wait to sew this together. Okay, can I get 5 out of here? I'm not sure. Thought I wasn't on the 1.5 inch there for a sec. All these little baby-sized strips. I guess from the Splendid Sampler, I'm gonna shift this over a little bit. From the Splendid Sampler project, I'm kind of used to working with small pieces, but small strips are always a little more difficult. Ooh, we are going to be able to get 5 out of here. Awesome! Just barely. I might actually check the back of this after I cut it to see if we do actually have it. My mom, Barbara, is done with her Splendid Sampler too, so she's completely done. I am not quite half, I don't think. Before next week, I'll go through the book again and mark off all the ones that I've done, because I've been lax on that, so I don't actually know the ones that I've done or not, so I gotta do that homework again. But if there was one that hasn't happened yet and you want me to work on it, let me know. And that could be the one that we do. I haven't chosen which block we'll work on yet, but I do want to start another block. I think that'd be nice. All right, we got 5 more strips. We hardly wasted any fabric on that. Oh, I just love that I'm using up fabric. Fabric from the stash. Okay, and I think we will stop our cutting there for tonight. So we were able to cut through 2 fabrics, and we have 20 cut. So 20 out of 140. So, you know, we will go through more of this fabric. So that's good. So I'm going to just stack these, and I will put this in a bag, and we'll mark that there are 20 done. Okay. We're going to call this 139 assorted strips. And I'm going to write WOF on it, which means the width of the fabric, which means that we've just cut strips and we haven't cross-cut them to different sizes. So this just means width of fabric. That's just a reminder to me that we haven't actually cut these down to anything yet. Okay, so 139 will go in here. I'm going to write 20 complete. In bag. I need that, like the word complete isn't enough. I need to know that those 20 are actually in the bag. So here we go. Got our first stack. I'm going to fold that into threes like how we did those other strips. I think that'll fit a little bit better. So we have a start here. Yep, I think it's a good start. Ooh, there's a good kind of glimpse of what something might look like with those two colors together. Ooh, this bag is gonna have a lot in it, if that's only 20. All right, so just 119 more to go. Oh, that's crazy. So let's, we might actually use up a whole pile of this fabric. I mean, this isn't kind of a lot of fabric. And there's more on some of these than others. Like this is just some weird, gosh, I don't know what's going on with this piece. So we might only get like 2 cuts out of that. So maybe some of these weird pieces will get what we can out of there. And some of the colors that I know for sure I would love to have in, like, you know, we wanted some green, some of these bright greens. We wanted a lot of like the blue that looked like the color of the year. So let's just make sure we get some of that, you know, and as we go, we'll just have to pick more. And if we feel like we're not getting enough white, then we can cut some white. I think I have a lot of this fabric, it feels like. Some of this bright teal, some of this dark, all of it. So I'm excited. So we'll just set these aside. I'm going to have to get some sort of container for all of this. And we will be back to cut the rest of our 119 strips next month, the first full week of the month. So, all right, I'm going to flip you guys around. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's make this. So I'm going to change it to, we need 119 now. There we go. All right, going to flip you around. You got to get those notes in that pattern. So awesome, you guys. So again, we are working on the Granny Squares quilt by Lissa Alexander for American Patchwork and Quilting magazine. It's so pretty. And again, I'll show you here's the full quilt. It looks just like a crocheted Granny Square Afghan, which is what it's modeled after. It's got a fancy border on there. But yeah, so that is the plan. We are at the cutting stage. So again, the way that this is working is each project, we have a project per week. So we're going to kind of slowly get 4 projects done over the year, really. This is the first full week is the Granny Squares quilt. The second full week is going to be the Splendid Sampler 2. The third full week is whatever our new embroidery of the month is. We'll be stitching the embroidery. This month it is that mandala love pattern. We'll be stitching that onto a tea towel. And then the last week, week 4, will be the Aurifil block of the month, which I'm one of the participants, one of the designers of that. Mine is going to be the July block. And that is the colors of Italy is the theme for that. So that'll start, I think it's going to get released soon. The first block will be released on the 15th, but we won't actually get to stitching it till the last week of the month. And then every month that repeats, and then we'll fit in other little small projects along the way. So thanks again, guys. Again, I will get some posts up that you can share to help get the word out about our Koala fundraiser. And thank you again for everyone who donated to that so far. And you can check it out with the link below and get the pattern if you like. So thanks again, and I will see you next week. Have a great weekend, everyone. Good night.